Welcome to turn number 1. We are about to get started, but before we do, I'd like to talk about scale. So these Tim Mee Army figures are 54 millimeters, basically 2 inches tall, and therefore I should be doubling all distances. However, because this is a very limited space in my office of a 4x4 set of table shelf together, we're going to still use the traditional scale. So movement is scaled to 25 millimeter figures, so it may look a little bit odd for some of the scales for firing, movement, etc. Just trust me, if you play it, I will provide a QRS so that regular Army figures like this can be used, because that was one of the goals in designing this game, was to be able to use these figures from my childhood. And we were supposed to select weather. I rolled this as well. The weather today is in the dry season, and I still rolled a 5 for light rain. So light rain for this battle. We're not really dealing with time of day. We're not dealing with some of the other things that could be specified in a scenario. This is a randomly generated. I have no idea how this is going to turn out, but I think the defender's in a pretty rough spot because lacking the trees and cover, and I just added that note to the rules that, you know, buildings can provide a screen, as can wood lines, to extend that hard cover to things that are along the line of fire for direct fire. Indirect fire doesn't matter. Those guys back there in the back corner can be targeted by indirect. I'm going to actually allow the free forces to do one indirect fire call for this scenario. Game sequence, activation. So first we roll d6 to see which player is going to activate the smallest element. This player has the option to defer movement or go first. If there's any dispute about the order of activations, the players may dice off to resolve that order. So that's for larger games. Once the action, where multiple tables are put together, so we have multiple platoons versus platoons. Once the actions of all activated units are resolved, the turn is over. Interruption. Each player has the ability to interrupt the other one. So after both sides have done their activations and completed all movement, so if you want to interrupt, you've got to do it before that player wraps up. The second player in the sequence wraps up his or her orders. And here's the first dice roll. Blue is free forces, red is for commies. It's orange, but whatever. Look at this activation table. Let's see. Both players roll 1d6 to see which side will activate the smallest element. So I made the roll, communist versus free forces. The platoon leaders are both within 6 inches of their elements. Let's see who activates the smallest element. So the communists roll a 4, which is modified to 5. They can activate a fire team and squad, so squad plus, or they can activate their platoon leader. The free forces can activate, it says a 2. They can activate a single officer, well, that's modified to 3, so a buddy team or cell. Free forces, a buddy team is 2 people. Communist forces, a buddy team is 3 people. So in this case, the smallest element is going to be the free forces. Do they want to go first or not? And I think the answer is yes, they want to go first. And in this case, the 2 figures that they're going to activate are going to be the platoon leader and the RTO, so that he can call for fire. Okay, orders segment. Radio calls come first. We're doing the blue force. Roll 2d6 and apply applicable modifiers below. A result of 7 or better is successful. 7 or better is pretty much the touchstone of this rule set. Again, this harkens back to chainmail. If you look at the fantasy table, a monster versus its equivalent, or a man versus, a heroic figure versus its equivalent, is a 7 or better to get a good result, which is 50% chance, right? A result of 2 or less results in garbled communications. So we have light rain, so a -1 modifier. The figure rank in this case is going to be 6, I think. Let me check the rank table real quick. That's probably something I could make easier. Figure rank 6 is a company commander. Actually, this is figure rank 5, which is an LT. So figure rank 5. Figure rank 5 gets no modifier at all. Okay, got it. So if you're less than a platoon leader and make the call, expect a negative bonus, and if you're a company commander, you can, or higher ranked officer, then you are getting an advantage. Call made from a hill or building top, and we'll assume that the platoon leader there is on the building top so that he can see the field in front of him. That's kind of what he's doing, is peeking over the building here. I'm just making this up as I go along, folks. Figure rank 7 or more gets a +2 bonus. Okay, so the light rain is offset by the fact that he's making a call from the building top. There's no other modifiers. Call made inside the impact area, not happening. He's not, it should say an impact area. And not receiving direct fire. Okay, so I've really belabored this. Let's just make the 2d6 roll. 9, so that's a successful call. Let's look at indirect fire. Off-table fire support requires a successful radio call to initiate the fire mission. The artillery rounds will fall within 1d3 turns. Turn 1. So 1 turn from now, we're going to get that fire coming in, i.e. the earliest rounds fall during the next turn, right? So turn 2, we get these rounds. Rounds fall during the movement segment. Referee will roll d6 to see when they land in the impact area. Referee should keep the timing information secret. So should I go ahead and roll this now? Let's do it while we're here so we don't flip back and forth. 1d6. 2, during communist movement. So when the commies move on turn 2, please keep me honest and remind me to bring this fire down. Now, the impact area is centered on the coordinate called in during the fire mission. So I got to specify that. And I've got to avoid being within 10 point, the center of the sheath cannot be within 10.5 inches of friendly fire. So I don't know when this is going to happen. It's going to be within D3 turns, but now as the player, I have to pick the impact area. So I've got to kind of look at where he's at. And again, I don't have to have line of sight. I'm calling in coordinates. So this accounts for a little bit of abstraction here, but sometimes fire support gets called in without direct observation of the enemy. It doesn't happen often, but you know, it might happen. So to accommodate that, instead of having a bunch of one-off little rules and exceptions and niggly little difficulties to interpret at the table, we're just saying, hey, you pick the coordinate. A higher ranked officer can, of course, initiate fire for danger close, but we have no higher ranked officers on the table here. As a matter of fact, I think a lieutenant colonel or above can call it in on lieutenant colonel or higher can actually drop ordnance on your own position or where you, so the coordinate that you pick right now has to be at least 10.5 inches away from all friendly figures. The sheath comes from the center of the baseline. So because this is a 4 foot wide by 4 foot wide area, basically, the rounds are going to start here and go wherever. And the sheath itself is a box that is along that azimuth. So a little bit of an arc here form too, where I pick the impact area to be. I'm pretty sure these guys are going to want to take advantage of this this wood line here, and knowing that the sheath is going to be along that line and 8 inches. Let's see, the sheath itself is 8 inches wide by 15 deep, so it's going to be 4 inches to either side, with a reminder that this comes in on turn 2. And again, this would have to be somewhat hidden from the players, unless you just accept the fact that with the uncertainty about when it's going to fall, the players will make adjustments accordingly. Little fiddly. We're learning as we're going here.